All right. I think we are on. Hey, what's going on? Gosh, it's a Tuesday morning in New York, and you guys have just jumped in here to this LinkedIn Live. Thank you. And so I thought we'd have a conversation about what makes a great sales presentation. And I created this poll on Slido.com. And so I figure, in addition to you like commenting here, and it'd be great to see if you're here. All right. I think we are on. Hey, that's the echo. Reducing the echo. So if you're here, just give me like a thumbs up or say, "Hey, yo, what's up? Tell me where you're coming in from and who are you? Which one of my friends are you?" Is my mother in the house? So anyway, the conversation today is on what makes a great sales presentation, and I wanted to use Slido for this. And you can also participate here by getting out your laptop or your other device, your phone, and going to slido.com, slido.com, and then enter the word vote, VOTE. And then you could, on the screen here to my left, I think it is, you could vote. And so the first question that I wanted to chat about with you guys is, what do you think is the mark of a great sales presentation? So what's the mark of a great sales presentation? You know, like TED Talks, you'd think that TED Talks are awesome presentations, and they are. But do they change behavior? Do they get people to make a decision at the end? Do they sell anything to anyone other than to inspire people? And so, no, maybe great presentations, but not great sales presentations. Because I think a sales presentation needs to have a certain thing, a certain attribute that's not present with TED Talks. It doesn't create any action. And so I'm curious for you guys in this Slido vote. Hey, Colin from Toronto, what do you think is the mark of a great sales presentation? So rapturing storytelling, or a storytelling rapture. In my opinion, while storytelling is important, like it's important what story you're telling. Is it your story? Is it your company's story? Is it your customer's journey story? Like, what is it that you're telling the story of? That's really important. You can tell a shitty story and actually no change will happen. So I think storytelling is important, but what is the mark? What is the most important aspect of a presentation? Is it storytelling? Is it applause? Is it nodding heads? Is it awesome graphics and awesome slides? What do you think is the mark of a great sales presentation? Hey, Thomas from New York, welcome. So if you can go to slido.com/vote, you can actually vote on this screen here to my left. So stories that make your customer the hero. Well, for sure. But like, what does that sound like? What does that look like? You know, it can't be artificial, and you can't really pretend that they're a hero. I think what I mean by making your customer the hero of the story, it is really involving yourself in their change. So if you can involve yourself in their change and their transformation, then you are making them the hero instead of what most B2B sales presentations are about, which is making the solution and the thing, the technology or the process or the service, that's the thing that we should all bow down to and say how awesome it is, which is making the solution the hero of the story. But if you can kindly go over to this poll, slido.com, I'm curious to see what you guys think. Because I think the mark of a great sales presentation is really the verbal go to move forward. The verbal go forward. Let's go forward. Let's change behavior. I think that's the mark of a great sales presentation. It's not just a great story. It's not just getting agreement, like general agreement, like this sounds good. I think the mark of a great sales presentation is that afterwards, after your storytelling and after your great slide presentation, you are getting agreement to change something. Something has moved, something has shifted. And many people think that a great sales presentation is one where the customer or the people you're presenting to envisions change very clearly of how they can get from where they are to where they want to go. And so I think that's the mark of a great sales presentation. So so it looks like we got another vote there for verbal go forward decision. It's still rapturing storytelling still is winning the lead there. And I don't know, I'm surprised that y'all think that that makes for a great sales presentation. I think that makes for a great movie, for a great TED Talk, for a great video. But I don't think that makes for a great sales presentation because, someone could be raptured but not change behavior or do anything or buy anything after. And so I don't think rapturing storytelling is the most important mark of a great sales presentation. So because, I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. When selling, what works better? Is it better to rapture your story around people's heads and tell them awesome things, or is it better to ask them questions? And I think a very wise person once said to me that people believe in the things that they themselves decide, not the things that you tell them. And I believe that. I'm pretty hard to brainwash because I'm so stubborn, and I think most people are. I think that the way to change people's ideas or to influence or to persuade is not to tell them things, but to ask them questions to see what they believe and see what they think about things that maybe they haven't thought of before, that it gets them to envision something new. So questions, I think, are the most powerful tool to sales presentations. And I think really salespeople don't do enough questioning. And I say questioning, not just how much do you spend on this and what are you trying to do here, but questioning that gets to the heart of the problem and the root causes of the problem. So we've got a couple votes here on when selling, what works better here on the left. Feel free to chime in. Darryl Cross, so true. Too many companies start with the story about their company. So let's just see a show of hands. I think I got a poll here that we can come back to this one. In your sales presentation, let's do this one. I think I've got one here. Don't vote just yet. Yes. So think about your sales presentation right now. So your slides, your presentation, what does it start with? Does it start with about us, who we are, where we're located, how long we've been in business, okay? Or does it start with the solution? This is what we do. This is our solution, our process, our methodology. Or does it start with the problem? This is the challenge that we see our customers are having. Do you have these challenges? Or does it start with a joke? And I say that because I see a lot of bad sales presentations and they start with jokes, and I hope yours don't. But be honest, what does your sales presentation lead with? Does it lead with an about us story? Does it lead with a story about the problem or the solution or a joke or other? Does it lead with, I don't know, jumping out of a cake? Or does it lead with, what does it lead with? Who knows? So let me know your thoughts. And also you can comment here. There's about a minute delay, like a 60-second delay here. So I don't see your comments right away, but I will see your votes right away. So as soon as you click on boop, the vote, I'll see that, I think. But wait a minute, I'm just in a time dash because if there's a 60-second delay, anyway, I'm getting all wrapped around time travel right now. So what does your sales presentation lead with? It looks like we have a tie score now between about us and the problem. And I think it's important to establish credibility, but it's really likely that you don't have to do that. You shouldn't do that at the start of your presentation, your sales presentation. Because first of all, people would not even be talking to you if they didn't know some basic facts about how long you've been in business. Your grandfather started the company 1,000 years ago. You've been in business since 1949. You've got more experience with your whole team combined for the last 50 years, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard that before. But it's like that information people can get on their phones while they're headed in the elevator to the conference room or to your meeting. So that's not really information that you probably want to lead off with. And anyway, even if you have that in your presentation, I would argue that nobody cares about that. There's a way to talk about you and your credibility that's much better. That's credibility that speaks to the social proof that you have, meaning how many customers you have that are using the solution. And not only that, how many customers, just like the one that I'm talking to right now, is using this solution. So that's better story about us than when your company was founded, for example. Because you can say that, our company has been in business for like 100 years or 12 years. And I know that there's a bias towards things that have been around a long time, but things have changed so much, and what works today, it doesn't work or didn't work, what works today is new and different than what worked 5 years ago. So I think time is good, how long you've been in business is good, but what's more important is how you've been helping customers just like us. So anyway, how are you guys voting here? What does your sales presentation lead with? It looks like it's still a 50-50 about us and the problem. And that kind of makes sense. So Gary, it starts with about the customer, their challenges, their objectives, their needs. Absolutely, Gary. Starting with what you know about the customer builds the credibility. Absolutely. In fact, what you know about the customer's problem, could be deeper and a better demonstration of your credibility than just showing how long you've been in business. Absolutely. And a lot of people, think that, customers, tell me what you need. Tell me what you need, and maybe that should be the way we start the presentation. But I think, sadly, customers, we as buyers, we don't know what we need. We think we do, but we don't really know what we need. In fact, if you have a lot of credibility and 100 years experience in your business, you probably know what I need or what your customer needs much better than they know what they need. So I don't think that's actually a really good question at all to be asking your customer in a sales presentation, for sure. So cool, let's move on to a couple other questions here. This is fun, this is exciting. Using LinkedIn Live, experimenting here with using Slido here at the same time. So what question do I want to put up here? Why don't we ask this one, which is, what is the purpose of your presentation? So there's folks here, 23 folks dialed in. If you were to think about the purpose of your presentation, the one that you're about to give next week or next month or maybe this afternoon, like, what's the purpose of it? Why are you conducting that presentation? I mean, you've got your purpose, which is, I got to win business. I got to get customers. I got a quota to carry, for sure. We get that. That's your reason. That's your purpose. But what is your customer's purpose? And what is the reason why you guys are getting together there in that time, whether it's a desktop share kind of presentation or whether it's a face-to-face presentation? What's the purpose? So definitely put in your votes here. I'd like to see what you guys think. Is it to transmit information? So some presentations that I see is to transmit information. It is to, okay, please sit down, be quiet. I've got 63 slides of information to share with you. And when I see a presentation like that, I run for the door. I for sure run for the door. I actually get angry when I see a presentation that doesn't allow me to be involved with that presentation. It's just like a one-way, please sit down, let me tell you, let me get through this information for you. And that gets me angry because I'm on my phone getting more information about what the person is presenting than they are presenting in that moment. They're not giving me what I want, what's important to me. And what's worse is when I raise my hand in that meeting, say, hey, excuse me, can I ask a question? Or are questions like, coming to the end here? Or is this a conversation? Or is this a is this like a one-way talk? And so it gets me like mad, and I walk out. I'm just like, I'm done, because I'm there as a buyer, I'm there as an audience member in a presentation to learn something new. And I think the best way to learn something new is in a conversation, not in a one-way dialogue. So what's the purpose of your presentation? So folks are voting here. Open minds to possibilities is winning. Created a trusted relationship. Nobody is voting for transmit information, and nobody's voted so far for deliver a performance. And we talked about before the mark of a great sales presentation. Some folks said delivering a raptured story. But no one's voting here deliver a performance, because I think y'all are getting that performances are interesting, but it's not really what you want in a sales presentation. You want like vision alignment. You want you to become sort of shoulder to shoulder with your customer, and you want to become their trusted advisor. And that only happens not by delivering an awesome performance, not by delivering a raptured story, but by asking them questions about their problem. And you're there because you've got expertise that is going to really help them. And that's what they want. They want your expertise. And I don't even think they want you to be their friend. You don't have to be like a nice person, or you can have a personality like vinegar, but if you know your shit, then people will certainly buy from you. I know that's for me. So what's the purpose of your presentation? Is it to deliver a performance, transmit information, open minds to possibilities, or create a trusted relationship? Looks like winning is open minds to possibilities. And for sure. And how do you do that? How do you open someone's mind? Go for it. Open my mind right now. How do you do that? How do you open someone's mind? So I have found that you can't, other than asking the right questions. And so some people say, oh, there's no such thing as stupid questions. Yes, there is. There's definitely such thing as stupid questions. Stupid questions don't do anything, or they do the wrong thing. In a sales presentation, it's really important to ask the right questions. You don't have very much time in a sales presentation, so asking the right questions is really important. And only the right questions, I think, is going to open up minds to the possibilities that you're looking for. So here, what makes a great presenter? So we're talking about what makes a great sales presentation. What do you think makes a great presenter? Is it some cool slides and really cool, fancy animation, and cool transitions, and awesome data visualization, and all that good stuff? Don't get me wrong. That's important. Data visualization is really key. More key is the story you're telling about that and the connection you have with your audience, I think, in telling that story about the data. Because it's not just the story, it's what's important to them about the story that makes the data interesting. So it looks like we've got one person here voting so far with connection with audience. Connection with audience is the most important thing. I agree. Charisma, nah, you can take your charisma. I'm not really that enamored with charisma. I mean, some people are, I guess, cool to watch, and I like them. And some people, I don't know if I'd want to be their friend even, but they definitely have a connection with me, and they know a lot about their subject, and they're teaching me, and I think they can help me evolve and help me improve. So that's more important. So their knowledge for me is more important than charisma. Body language, meh. I don't know. I think body language certainly is important, but is it the most important thing? I don't know. What do you guys think? Cool slides. What do you guys think? Is there another one there? No. Cool slides. Yeah, so cool slides I think are important, but are they the most important? Probably not. So it looks like knowledge is now coming in second place, catching up with connection with audience. So I definitely believe knowledge and your expertise and your insight is what your customers want in a sales presentation. They would take that any day over the week and twice on a Sunday, then your charisma, and then your body language, or your cool slides. So don't get me wrong, slides are important. I mean, they help anchor the conversation, but it's not, I guess, the most important. The most important thing is the connection with the audience, and cool slides could help you get there. It's like the means to an end. I look at slides as being the supporting actor on the play or on the stage. Slides aren't the main actor, they're the supporting actor, and how you engage with the supporting actor to tell your story is really what makes a great sales presentation. So Michelle Hummel, CEO, agreed. Knowledge, yeah, knowledge is awesome. I say knowledge is power. Knowledge is power for sure, but is it everything that you need in a sales presentation? I think no, because I've seen great sales presentations by people who almost, I think they have the curse of knowledge. When I say the curse of knowledge, they know so much about the technical integration behind how these systems work, and they go into so much detail that they lose the connection with their particular audience and what their particular audience is trying to get out of that presentation. So, Michelle, you responded, I am a presenter, and it's true. People can want information they can take with them to implement. Yes. And you only know what they want to take with them. How do you know that? You only know that if you ask, or if you're a mind reader. And I'm not a mind reader. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, by the way. I'm failing at working on becoming a mind reader, but I'm not giving up the Jedi mind trick stuff. I mean, I'd like to learn how to do that. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask my customers and ask my audience questions so I can understand what they're thinking. Questions, the right questions, are the way that I can understand what they're thinking and help guide the conversation in the right way. I find humor is a must-have to keep them engaged. Yes, Michelle, humor is a must-have. However, what do you do, Michelle, when and if you're just not funny? Yeah, you're not funny. Do you tell a joke? What do you do? I mean, I'm not funny. No one has ever said to me that I'm funny. Sometimes awful, funny things come out of my mouth, but they're more embarrassing things than funny. I think to start a presentation and to use humor, I would say only if you know how and you're good at it, but I don't know how. So Michelle, if you know how to use humor, please let us know. How do you use humor in your presentation effectively? So Gary, I would say the connection with an audience is first supported by knowledge, charisma, body language. Slides are to support. You could have 0 slides. Yes, absolutely. 0 slides. The conversation is most important. When you're presenting remotely, it's kind of hard because you're talking on the phone with people and they're not looking at anything. So maybe they're on email. You don't really know what they're looking at. Diagrams and visuals to show, like I'm doing with my hands. Oh, by the way, a cool point, by the way, I'll put up the next poll. When people, I'm like making images with my hands. When people talk with their hands, okay, so talking with your hands, if you think about it, is a method of visualization. And people talk with their hands, say, okay, how do we help you get from where you are today to where you want to go? There's this journey arc. People are saying, okay, I'm basically drawing in space, a visualization. And I actually think that's going to be the future of presentations, where presentations are a lot using VR, like the way Tony Stark builds stuff. I think presentations are going to be in the future drawings in space. But until then, it's really useful to use some slides to anchor people's visual thinking when you're taking them through a rather complex process of how you're going to get from where you are to where you want to be. And this arc that I'm drawing is a visual arc, and this is how we think. We're visual people. And the way our brains work are visually and spatially, And so I think slides done well, not bullet points. You can keep your bullet points, that doesn't do anything. But slides that use visuals to convey story are really useful in anchoring the conversation. So there's this poll here up on the screen. What do you think is the most exciting way to learn new information? Is it in a classroom? Is it watching on YouTube? Is it in a conversation? You see where I'm going with this? Is it on my own? Is it reading a book? So new information. So when you're in a sales presentation, put yourself in the buyer's perspective. They are there to learn new information and to gain your insight. So I think the more that you could turn your presentation into a conversation is, I think, the better your presentation will be. Excuse me. Because I think people learn by this back and forth dialogue and by seeing how people move their hands or seeing what's on their slides so they can understand the relationships between things. So I definitely think, in my experience, the best way that I learn information is in a classroom. I'm sorry, did I say that? No. I didn't say on my own. Is in a conversation. I like to learn from listening to podcasts. And in a way, I feel like I'm in a conversation sometimes on podcasts because I'm like in the room listening. I'm an auditory learner, so I like to listen to audiobooks instead of read books because I can like drive and listen. But I think listening to people speak and the words and the emotion behind the speech, and I get so much from that, and I feel like it's in conversation that I learn more. So I think in a sales presentation, if you can just send your person, your customer, your sales presentation, just like, okay, I'm going to email it to you. Just take a look at it and let me know if you want to buy, if you want to move forward. I don't know what kind of character I'm doing now, but that doesn't work. You can't just send your presentation to someone and they're going to look at it and buy or not. I mean, they won't, because they want to be involved in a story of transformation. They want you to coach them, to be their advisor in helping them get from where they are to where they want to be. And that does not happen by just sending them the sales presentation in an email. In fact, if anyone asks you, just send me the sales presentation, don't do it. Send them to your website instead. Just say, go to our website, go to this landing page. You can get all the information you want there with videos, and that'll take care of you. That'll give you the information that you need. But don't send them your slides, because slides aren't anymore meant for information transfer, because information is on the web. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to send people your sales presentation. So don't do that. Stop that, cut that off from the process that you've got there. And if they say, we want to just send it internally and get people's view on that, well, send those people to your website. You also have no control over the sales process for sure if you just send people the sales presentation. You don't know if they've opened it or looked at it. So I think you can better create a password-protected landing page that you can track where people look and where they go and who looks at it, and you can probably create logins if you want for each of the people that are looking at it. A much better way of, I'd say, sending presentations that speak for themselves and controlling how people look at that versus just sending an attachment, which I definitely think is old school. So, Thomas, I run the Distance Learning Ass. What is that? And this session rocks. Oh, thank you. Well done. Cool. Michelle, exactly. Do not send the sales presentation. They will look at the price and not understand value, for sure. Yeah, so that's like a proposal. Like, you can send a proposal for sure, but I mean, when do you send the proposal in the sales process? I mean, that's another discussion for another time. All right, let's see if we have one more poll here. You guys are awesome and been on for 30 minutes here. So cool. And so let's now do a fun thing together. Okay, all y'all here, 42 people here in my LinkedIn Live. And by the way, tomorrow I'm going to do a LinkedIn Live in New York City in Times Square. I'm going to set up. It'll be a beautiful afternoon. And I'm going to put out a question there, which is, who are your people? And what is your battle cry? And when I say who are your people and what is your battle cry, what I mean by that is who are the people that you're helping, shoulder to shoulder, your customers, your clients? Who are they, and what is your battle cry? What is your call to change? And so we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. It'll be a lot of fun. But for now, we're talking about, in one word, what is the most critical element of a successful sales presentation. So this is a word cloud. So that means that if you go to Slido.com and put in your vote, put in one word, we're going to see your word on the screen. And if multiple people say the same word, that word gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, look at me with my hands, talking with my hands. It's just like we as humans do this. We talk with our hands because we're visual people. We're visual creatures. Anyway, that's why at Pitch Kitchen, we're all about creating awesome sales presentations and visuals. I'm going to just plug the business for a moment to help sales leaders turn their presentations into conversations. But anyway, commercial is over. I like to talk with my hands. So Abigail, I think the question should be the most effective way to learn new information. The question, absolutely, the question that you ask, or the questioning that you ask, because that is the way to open up minds. And so, interesting, so I'm using questions here. In one word, what is the most critical element of a sales presentation? To inspire. We got that word. Come on, people, let's see you vote. I want to see your answers. I want to see your answers because I don't think inspiration is the most critical element. I think it's part of it. Like, again, back to my comments about TED Talks, spreading, what is TED Talks? Spreading ideas worthwhile, or spreading ideas, inspiring ideas. I forget the tagline. Maybe you can help me with that. But inspiration is not enough. Or is it? Do you think inspiration is enough? If your customers are inspired, if they're inspired by you, is that enough for that organization to sign on the dotted line and pay your organization hundreds of thousands of dollars, say, to help them get from where they are to where they want to be? I think that is not enough. I think inspiration is a good start. You need inspiration. Everybody can use some inspiration. But is that the most critical element to a successful sales presentation? So again, we're not talking about presentations, and maybe I should have put sales presentation there. We're not just talking about presentations that are like cool to watch. Or like, oh, I saw a presentation on how to skin a deer. Okay, that's interesting. Will I ever skin the deer? No, it was interesting. It inspired me, but I'm not going to do it. So I think inspiration is interesting and needed, but it's not the most critical. So what do we got here? This is like communication. Yes, understanding is the most critical element. We've got motivation. Looks like a couple people are voting on attention. Motivation is the most critical element. I think motivation is important. Desire, influence. So what does that mean? Influence, so can you influence people? Yeah, but how do you do that? Action. Oh my gosh, I'm doubling down. Whoever said action, that's my word. I'm thinking that, for me, is the most critical element of a successful sales presentation is, did they or didn't they take any action as a result of that presentation? And I don't care what your charisma was like. I don't care if you told a compelling story. I don't care if your solution was just mediocre. But if they decided to take action at the end of your presentation, hello, ring the bell, you have succeeded in your sales presentation. For me, that's the biggest thing. It's not understanding. Attention, I don't know, my attention span's like 5 seconds long. Action, yeah, so action and attention are now in the lead here. Fantastic. Communication, influence, desire. I desire your solution. That's interesting. So guys, I want to just stop here for a moment And thank you for what you guys are jumping in for 40 minutes impromptu LinkedIn Live. Just stop your work, whatever you were doing, to jump in to have this conversation about what makes a great sales presentation. I appreciate you. I really thank you for just jumping in, have this conversation. Join me tomorrow in New York City for fun and for awesomeness in the center of Times Square. I'm not sure exactly what time, but we're going to be talking there about who your people are and what your battle cry is. So who your people, who are the people that you're helping in your business, your clients, your customers, who are they? And what is your battle cry? What is the thing that you're screaming out to them, if you could, about how they should change what they're doing so that they can become better, so they can evolve and improve? All right, so just lastly, I'm looking at the screen, some changes here. Inspire is now the biggest. Awesome. Again, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle, Thomas, Abigail, Gary, and other folks that have chimed in here. And we will see you soon.